Without that Herculean effort by Anthony Davis, where would the Lakers have been? Because they've been in free fall coming into that game. They had dropped 8 of 10. No Kyle Kuzma. Still no Schroeder. He's been in the health and safety protocol. And most important, no LeBron. Although we still don't know precisely why LeBron is not playing, because he's been coming back gradually from the high ankle sprain. It's Brian Weber for Jim Rome. Hop aboard, 1-800-636-8686. Because we are fully vaccinated, we're going old school. Rit has my permission if he actually gets out of the chair, and it's a big ask when you have the fill-in hack on this side of the glass. He'll hand me your tweets as we roll along. So LeBron has been dealing with the lingering effects of the high ankle sprain. A couple days ago, Frank Vogel, in a very puzzling decision, told the media, no, LeBron's not playing because he's not here. Not health-related. What are you talking about? That's when the Lakers got blown out by the Clippers. LeBron decided to show up last night. I guess that's a step in the right direction. We don't need a medical analyst to join us, and I specifically went with a modified rundown to give you a chance to chime in with calls and tweets, because here's the timetable for the return of LeBron James. Whenever he damn well feels like playing basketball again, because we know not only is he the GM of this team, he's running the league. Although, apparently, he did not get a vote when it came to the play-in tournament. So the Lakers still in the 7 hole, although the schedule is better moving ahead, because coming into the game last night against Phoenix, as I was trying to crystallize my thoughts, I figured Lakers lose again. I can do 3 hours of bashing a team that is flawed and poorly constructed because they went all in with 2 superstars. And we know that Anthony Davis had the injury history coming out of New Orleans, dealing with the Achilles issue this year. LeBron, while he's superhuman, eventually even a cyborg wears down. But instead, the game also told us a lot about Phoenix and why I think they are nothing more than a regular season story. Remind me a lot of the Hawks a few years ago. Remember when the Hawks won better than 60 games and flamed out in the postseason? I think it's going to be the same story for Phoenix, most notably because, barring a change during this final week of the regular season, then it's on to the gimmick that is the play-in tournament. Lakers as the 7 seed, let's say they play Steph Curry and the Warriors. Now, you can say the NBA is tinkering with things just to try to get a better rating, build up more interest, make this last week of the regular season somehow more compelling, because typically it's teams that are out of the mix going 1-2-3 Cancun in the huddle, and teams that have their seedings locked in decide to rest the starters and go with younger players. So in a normal 82-game regular season, the last week prior to the postseason is largely unwatchable. So I think the NBA undeniably made the right decision because of all of the components at play this week heading into the play-in. And while LeBron a year ago, when he was holding court in the bubble, said, yeah, that play-in concept, great idea, a week ago roughly said, whoever came up with this idea is an idiot, because he quickly did the math. Based on his inability to get back on the floor, the Lakers are very much in the mix of having to be that 7 seed. But let's say it is the Lakers and the Warriors. Effectively, single elimination for one team. Wouldn't that feel like when we all figured out that it was Stephen Curry, not Stephen Curry, when he was playing for Davidson and was out of his mind? Sign me up for that. Yeah, maybe it's contrived. It's non-traditional, but we live in a world now of 5,000 options across every platform, and you have to try to grab the audience. So if that's the game, and I'm not rooting for any teams, I'm not Laker B. Webb. There's no Laker flag on my car. I wasn't chanting in my apartment, "Go Caruso" last night. I'm in the content business. I'm looking for compelling and interesting things to talk about. Give me the Lakers and the Warriors in a play-in game. Might not shake out that way because Lakers have a manageable schedule coming up. Take on the Knicks, and we'll talk about that nice win yesterday, and Julius Randle now in line for a massive payday, and that would be the most Knicks thing ever, right? Take someone shining in a small sample size and throw too much money his direction. But after that, the Lakers against the atrocious Rockets, they head to Indy, and the Pacers have their own internal issues and conversation. The coach is about to get whacked, and then they wrap it up at New Orleans without Zion. So it feels like, depending on what happens with Luka and the Mavs in front of him, and Luka is now, to me, starting to play in a way that's reminiscent of Chris Paul. What is with the attraction of hitting a opposing player in the nether regions? What is that all about? Don't just tell me, Luka, that was muscle memory, like it was some kind of involuntary action. He knew what he was doing there, but he's going to, I think, keep the presence of mind so he doesn't run into the excessive technical issue and be a modern-day Rasheed Wallace. So you got Dallas in front of the Lakers. You have Portland in front of the Lakers. But for the Lakers right now, it's a matter of how much are you buying Anthony Davis's ability to sustain this, because even when LeBron comes back, whenever he chooses to, because he's the king after all, LeBron could be now in a position where we can't presume health, especially with the accelerated postseason schedule. They're going to be playing these games deep into July either way, but the NBA, especially now with the addition of the play-in tournament, is going to have a little bit more speed than we're accustomed to come playoff time. But LeBron has shown us in the past he is capable of being transcendent. So let's presume LeBron plays up to his normal, exceptional level. Can you then say with a degree of confidence that Anthony Davis can keep doing this? And I'm going to say no. As much as I respect Anthony Davis, when I was much more in the college basketball world, covered his Final Four 2020 in New Orleans. Remember we were talking about Anthony Davis as a lock to win an MVP award early in his career. Well, some of that has come down to he was on a lousy team in New Orleans. Some of it also a byproduct of his inability to stay healthy. And also a fellow named Giannis burst upon the scene. And why aren't we talking more about the Bucks? That's a rhetorical question. We'll get there in hour number 2 of the program. Want to be solely focused on the West to start things off, and then we'll shift our attention to what's happening in the Eastern Conference coming up in the second hour of the show, plus some Aaron Rodgers talk. It's not just good radio and TV with the simulcast on CBS Sports Network. At this point, it's the law. But if I have to project how things play out, I think at this point, given his injury history, we have to presume at some point we're talking about Anthony Davis not being available due to whatever is going to flare up. And who do you realistically believe can then fill that void? Don't tell me Kyle Kuzma. Is Andre Drummond even on the Lakers? Remember how splashy that move was? Oh, it's going to transform the Lakers in the paint. How'd that work out for LA?